Is she to be buried in Christian burial that willfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee she is, and therefore make her grave straight. The crowner had sound her, and plied her Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. I cannot be anything else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. And an act hath three branches. It is to act, to do, to perform. Argal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to this water and drown himself, it is, will he nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death, shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, Mary, is it? Crowners quest law.
Well, you have the truth on. If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest, and the more pity that great folks should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves, more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They held up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What? Art thou a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
It is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter.
The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well. In good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now thou dost ill to say that gallows are built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it again. Come.
Who built stronger than a mason, a shipwright, a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that. And unyoke.
Mary, I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass would not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question, say a grave maker. The houses he makes last till doomsday. Go, thee to yon hand, fetch me a stoop of liquor. When I did love me, thought it was very sweet to contract all the time for a my behold. Oh, me thought there was a nothing of me.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business, that he sings songs at grave making?
Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
'Tis e'en so, the hand of little employment hath the dainter sense.
But aid with his stealing steps had clawed me in his clutch, and hashed me into the land as if I had never been such.
That skull had a tongue on it, and it could sing once. How the knave jolts it to the ground, as if to smear the Cain's jawbone. That did the first murder. It might be the pate of politicians, which this ash now o'erreachens, one that could circumvent. God, might it not?
It might, my lord.
Of a courtier, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord. How doubts, good lord, this might be the lord such a nose that prays, my lord, such a one's horse, when he might be, to beg it might it not.
Aye, my lord.
When in so, and now, my lady worms, chapless, and knock with the lizard of a morrow. With a sexton's spade, here's a fine revolution. If we had to see the trick, did it so? Did these bones cost no more than the breeding, but to play at logates with them? Mine ache to think it not.
A pickaxe and a spade for and a shroud and sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet.
There's another. Why may not be to the skull of a lawyer? Whereas acquittance now, his quilts, his cases, his tentures, and his tricks. Why does he suffer this rude now not to knock him, but the sconce with a dirty shovel, only not with an action of a battery? This fellow might be into the time of a great buyer of land, with his statues, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this fine? Of his fines and recoveries, and his recoveries, to have his fine paid to full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more, his purchases, and double ones, and the length of the breadth of the pair of indentures, the very conveyances of how lands will scarcely lie in this box, unless the interior himself have no more? Ha!
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is not parchment made of these sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and calfskins too.
They are sheep and calves who seek out assurance in that. Let's speak to this fellow. Whose grave is this, sir?
Mine, sir. All the tales you made for such a guest.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou instant.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in 'tit, to be in't, and to say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, for the quick, the rest the lost.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill lay away again, from me to you.
What man thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For no neither.
Then who is it to be buried for?
One that was a woman, sir. But rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute. The knave is, we speak, Lord Horatio. This is the years I have taken. Note of it, the age is grown to be picked up for one toe. Of the peasant comes from the heel of the courtier, for he night gals. How long has it been for the grave maker?
Of all the days in the year, I came to it that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England.
Aye, Mary, why was he sent to England?
Why? Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits here. Or, if he do not, 'tis no great man in there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, even when he's losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here. Man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth were he not?
Faith, if he be not run before he die, as we have many pulky courses nowadays that will scarce hold their laying in, he will last thee some 8 or 9 years. A tanner will last thee 9 years.
Why he more than one another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your wholesome dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull has lain in the earth 23 years.
Who was it?
A whoreson mad fellows it was. Who do you think it was?
Nah, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a good man rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
E'en that.
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, a most excellent fancy. He hath borne in me his back of 1,000 times, and now, how horrid of the imagination it is! My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips of what I've kissed, I know how of. Whereof by the gibes know, for the gobbles, your songs, your flashes of merriment, those who won't be able table on a roar. Not one now, to mark your own gearings, quite chipped from fall. Now to get my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her know the pain on the inch thick, and the favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked on through the fashion of the earth?
And so?
I smelt their paw.
And so, my lord?
To what base uses we may return? Horatio, why may not imagination trace the noble dust of the Alexander till me find into the stopping of gun bowl?
'Twere to consider to curiosity to consider so.
No faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it. As though Alexander died, Alexander was buried. Alexander returned to earth. Into dust, the dust is earth. Of earth we make loan. And why to make loan, whereto converted, might not even steal a beer barrel. Imperial Caesar, dead and turned into clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept to keep the world in awe, should patch a wall to expel the winter flaw. But soft aside, here comes the king. The queen, the courtiers, who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites this doth betoken. And course they follow with desperate hand, for do its own life. 'Twas from some estate, catch we a wild and mark.
What ceremony else?
That is Laertes, a very noble youth, mark.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been far enlarged. As we have warranty, her death was doubtful, and but the great command oversway the order. She should in ground unsanctified the lodge till the last triumph. For charitable prayers, shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin krantz, her maiden instruments, and bringing home of bell and burial.
Must there no more be done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem, and such rest to her as the peace-parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a minus ring angel shall my sister be, when thou liest howling.
What, the fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hope thou shalt have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bred to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave.
O treble woe, fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprive thee of, and hold off the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in my arms. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead, till of this flat mountain you have made to o'ertop old Pelion, or the skyish head of blue Olympus.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand? Like wanderwood hearers, this is I, Hamlet the Dane.
The devil, take thy soul!
Thou prayest thou will, I pray thee take thy fingers from my throat, for I have not splentive and rash, yet I have taken something dangerous in me, and which I have taken the wisdom. Hold off my hands!
Pluck them asunder.
Hamlet! Hamlet!
Gentlemen! Good, my lord, be quiet.
Why, I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids no longer wag.
Oh my son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not add up to the sum of mine. Wilt thou dost do for her?
Oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For love of God, forbear him.
Sound show me what thou do. Would sweep, would fight, would fast, would tear thyself, would drink a purse the isle of a crocodile. Else I'll do else thou, through the wine, to outface through the leaping grave, to burial quick with there and I will. As if that the pirate mountains let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singering pate against our burning zone. Make Ossa like a wart, nay in thou mouth, it will as well as thou.
This is mere madness, and thus a while the fit will work for him. Anon as patient as a female dove, when that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping.
Hear you, sir, what is the reason why you use me for thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what they may, and that the cat will mew and the dog will have his day.